Good, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to all of you to the 34th edition of the Water Series webinar on Catch the Rain campaign organized by Ministry of Jal Shakti, Government of India, National Water Mission and supported by APAC News Network. This is the weekly review webinar with the district magistrate, the district administrators, talking about what initiatives they have undertaken in under the Catch the Rain campaign in their specific districts, and how, in terms of rainwater harvesting and other water conservation areas, their districts are shaping up and what work they have been doing. To Basically, we have the guiding light of this entire Catch the Rain campaign under the National Water Mission, Ministry of Jal Shakti. Miss Debashree Mukherjee, the additional secretary and MD of the National Water Mission, and before I say anything further, may I request Ms. Mukherjee to take us through a bit about the project and set the context for today's discussion. I would also like to introduce the panelists who will be speaking today. We are basically spanning district across the breadth of the country, from far east Tripura, from Sepahijala district. We have Vishwashree B. She is a district magistrate of Sepahijala in Tripura. We are in the eastern part from Jharkhand, West Singhbhum district. We have ADM Ijaz Anwar from West Singhbhum with us, and we will be joined shortly by Mr. Girish from Vadodara in Gujarat in the extreme west. He is the executive director of water resources, who will be giving his presentation. So now, without any further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Debashree ma'am to set the context for today's discussion. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rajneeshji. Good afternoon to everybody. It is a great pleasure to be with all of you today, with district officers from as diverse from Tripura, from Jharkhand, from Vadodara. So you are all aware that the challenges that water management are posing to development today. I mean, water or lack of it, or even an excess of it, can be an inhibitor of growth. I mean, already we are looking at, there are dark blocks where you cannot set up more water industries that use water. And therefore, there are issues of employment generation, growth, things like that. We are also looking at, with climate change, we are also looking at issues of, the water cycle being affected. So longer droughts, longer dry spells, more intense precipitation events, more flooding. So what are our answers to this? What are we going to do to mitigate? How are we going to ensure that water doesn't become an inhibitor of growth? When I was in a district, water management was not center stage the way it is now, because things hadn't come to such an acute, situation where there were issues, there were problems. But the fact that now water management has become an integral part of development administration, which is why, the three of you are here today to talk about what you are doing in your districts to improve water management. And when I talk about water management, you know that the Jal Shakti Abhiyan is in progress. The idea of the Jal Shakti Abhiyan is that, prepare our surface water as well as groundwater recharge structures to catch as much of the rain as you can. We have this since 2021. We have been covering the entire country in Catch the Rain campaign, the Jal Shakti Abhiyan Catch the Rain campaign. Not just the water stressed areas, Because again, we see water as being dynamic. An area that is water stressed today, if it's well managed, will be safe tomorrow. And an area that is safe today, and in this I include the hill areas, where with all the precipitation, where with all the springs, we are still seeing problems of drinking water availability. So those areas can become critical if not managed properly. So here we think that water management has to be part of development administration, has to occupy center stage in development administration. Also, I want to mention the links between water, sanitation, and energy. How you manage your water is also about how much energy you need to for your regular water supply needs and irrigation. So this is the broad context. I think the conversations that we have with the district, you are the people in the field, you are the people who are implementing. So the conversations that we have are actually of great use, not just to the National Water Mission in the implementation of the Jal Shakti Catch the Rain campaign, in the implementation of strategies that we use to improve water management, but also in terms of the things that you say. We are trying to create case studies out of that and send to the academy so that we can train other officers. We'd also like to use some part of it in our communications, both to we've created 20 good stories and we have passed them on to some media houses. So what so your experiences, your innovations are not just part of this conversation, but it is something that we use again and again. With this context, I'm really looking forward to hear all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Debashree Madam, for those encouraging words for the district administrators in terms of how their initiatives on the ground will take this whole initiative of Catch the Rain and National Water Mission further. One important point Debashree Ma'am mentioned was interlinking the whole development process to either when there is abundance of water, that's also a challenge, as well as scarcity of water, that is also a challenge. So, in this context, we'll come to our first speaker of the day today. She is Vishwashree BIS and the district magistrate from Sepahijala district of Tripura, in the further northeast corner. And with that, I would like to hand over to Vishwashree ma'am to speak about the initiatives and actions that Sepahijala district has taken. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, everybody. I would first actually thank the ministry for organizing such a event and giving us a platform to share our thought process as well as whatever the work we are doing in the field. It's a nice initiative, ma'am, and I have also seen your earlier some of the videos which are quite informative. We can take a lot of inputs from all those discussions held earlier also. Just in this presentation, I actually want to share about what we have been doing and what are some of the measures which we have taken and also what challenges we are facing. So to start off, can we go to the next slide, please? Tripura. Yeah. Tripura, as we know, it's one of the 8 northeastern states. It's a very small state with an area of just 10,491 square kilometers. But at the same time, 84% of the entire state has an international border with Bangladesh. It's 856 kilometers is bordering with Bangladesh, and 10.7% with Mizoram, and 5.22% with Assam. Hence, any intervention, any activity in Tripura is very much dependent on the relationships we have with Bangladesh and the transactions we make with them. Our population, as per 2011-12 census, is 36.73 lakh population with a gender ratio of 960. In Tripura, we have 8 districts and 1178 GPVCs. We also have a good amount of Schedule 6 area, which is spread across all the 8 districts. That is where the village councils come into picture. And then normal annual rainfall is 2,213 mm across the year. The monsoon here, next slide please. The monsoon here actually starts quite early, right from second half of April. We have the Kalbaishaki and we have the water showers starting. So from there itself we have good amount of rainfall. Hence when Jal Shakti Abhiyan was started, so catching the rain as well as rainwater harvesting was a little it was a new concept to be taken to people. People were aware about the concept, but how to really make use of it, how to use it in every household, that was a new thing. Tripura, ma'am, as we all see, it's a part of the Himalayan ecosystem, hence very fragile, and it has huge impact of climate change, which we have been seeing also. I'm a 2014 batch officer, and I have been in Tripura for the last 8 years. And in my 8 years, I can see it may not be really quantifiable, but I can see the change in the rainfall pattern. Like last year in the month of June, we had so high precipitation that most of our districts got flooded. But the same I would not say about 2016, where the same amount of rainfall was there, but it was spread across the year, so that flooding was not there. So it's going to impact us huge. The one is decrease in the total annual rainfall, then the change in the rainfall pattern, which is also affecting the crops to a great deal. And there's a sudden burst of rain, as I mentioned just a while ago. So we have understood and we have consolidated that the efforts are required on four main aspects. One is water conservation, recharging, mainly I'm talking about. I'll explain that in a little. Then there are a huge number of water bodies in Tripura. We need restoration of the water bodies. Then effective use of groundwater, both for drinking as well as agriculture purpose. And at the end of the day, proper drainage system. Next slide, please. So coming to Sepahijala district, as I mentioned, is one of the 8 districts. Can we go to the next slide? So by area-wise, it is one of the smallest districts, and population-wise, it is the second largest population in the state itself. So we have about 1,044 square kilometer area, and out of that, 99.28 kilometers is the international border we have. 7 blocks and 169 gram panchayats as well as committees are there in the district. With 5.42 lakh population and 26% ST population, tribal population over here, we have a good mix of the entire profile present over here. And given the proximity to Bangladesh and about almost 100 kilometers international border, we have regular interactions with the counterparts, and a lot of efforts also go on. Coming to the agriculture aspect, 45% of the district area is under agriculture, out of which only 21.59% is irrigable as of now. There have been a couple of interventions which have been taken to increase this irrigable area. Major crops are paddy and vegetables. We also have quite an amount of jhum cultivation, wherein some lentils and then vegetables and some fruits are also grown. We'll discuss in the land use pattern when I explain. Then Tripura has actually 60% of the total area of the district as a of the state as a forest. Out of that, within the district, we have about 30% as classified forest area. Apart from that, we have good amount of forest cover, which is not really classified as the forest area. Sepahijala district has a national park as well as a sanctuary. In fact, the Sepahijala name, it has Jal in the name also. So the name of the district, a small anecdote, it says that when the king, when he used to travel across, his soldiers used to rest over near the place which is just now the national park, and there is a big lake there. So because Sipahis used to take rest near that lake, which is a Jalashai, that is why the name of the district has come as a Sepahijala. So that is why we all say in the district that we need to conserve this more. Next slide, please. So the intervention, the way it was started in the district was, yes, we did a topographical survey with the Tripura State Council of Science and Technology, wherein we tried to map the tanks, open wells, lakes, drainage lines, trees, how do we have it. And all this mapping has been classified based on the water body type, based on the construction, whether it is already there, natural or man-made, and then depending on its functional usage. Most of them are domestic, and type of retaining design, whether it is used for percolation or for recharge. After doing this survey work, this is how we have come up to, next slide please. The different maps, especially if you look at this land use map, we have most of it is for agriculture. Apart from agriculture, there is a good amount of shifting cultivation also we have. There are the red spots which are seen, or I would say between orange and red color, these are all the wastelands. But typically these are not wastelands. These are the fallow lands, or the lands between two ridges, which are generally used for the cultivation of paddy in the non-rainy season. And during the rainy season, these are all flooded. Can we go to the next slide? So this is the drainage pattern we have. Yeah, the drainage map we have a good amount of small streams and small charas flowing across. So there is a water flow consistently in the district. Next slide, which we have mapped the micro watersheds. So in under the micro watershed category, we have taken the small farm ponds or the water tanks which the families have, and also a lot of interventions were taken by various departments. So by mapping all those, I mean, there was no area which restriction which we have taken. So right from the smallest pond to the largest pond have been mapped, and the district entirely looks like it's a micro watershed. It's completely covered. But if we look at actually the larger water bodies which we have, which were generally, next slide please, which were generally done in the under IWMP project, these are strategically located in certain locations. So the southern part of the district, there we don't have much of the IWMP water tanks, because the river Gomati flows towards that. Hence, we don't have water IWMP assets over there. But in the northern part, there is no major river. Hence, the tanks have been made over there. And the right hand corner side, which we see, which is more of a tribal as well as a hillock area in the district, there considerable number of assets have been done through this project. Coming to water profile of the district, next slide please. Coming to water profile of the district, there is a big river called as Gomati, which originates in ranges called as Athrapura ranges. It is in the center of Tripura, it originates, and that flows across our district and goes towards Bangladesh also. There has been an effort to use this as a waterway. Initially, in earlier times, this river used to be used as a waterway for transportation as well as for trading purpose also. And we have a Ramsar site in the district called as Rudrasagar Lake. That is the picture I tried to put it. And there is a Neer Mahal also. So it is both important for us from the tourism point of view as well as from the ecological point of view. The district average rainfall is 1828 mm. As I said, there are many number of water bodies in the district as of now. That is 30,685 when we did the survey for a small district of 1,000 odd kilometers, square kilometers. 30,000 is huge in number. But yes, these are not in functional. Many of them require regeneration. That is where we are doing the effort. And in Tripura, like West Bengal, almost every household has a small water pond within their household. So those all also have been included in this survey. The survey was done by the fishery department, and these water bodies will take up in many schemes, like from the MGNREGA, IWMP, the departmental schemes, or even by individuals only. The general water table level in the district is about 2 to 5 meters depth, but however the iron content is very high. Hence the bore wells are generally dug deeper, up to sometimes up to 15 to 20 meters also, to get clearer water. There are many iron removal plants which we have set up to use that. However, the traditional feeling of the people is that we should go deeper to get clearer water. This is also one of the challenge which we are addressing. Next slide, please. So the activities, if I have to mention in terms of numbers, which we have taken, about 2,718 projects were taken in the category of water conservation, water harvesting, mainly the farm ponds and the check dams. Then 83 initiatives were specifically taken for the renovation of traditional body under MGNREGA scheme. Under other schemes, much more initiatives have been taken. As drought proofing, especially like the river plantations as well as another plantation structures, these all have been taken with 1,873 beneficiaries, and 1,002 micro irrigation initiatives have been completed, and 94 projects were taken in the category of flood control protection, especially the river bank protection works which we have taken, and about 5.42 kilometers of river bank protection is completed as on date. This year we are going to take up another 6.7 kilometers river bank protection, We have one major river, as I said, River Gomati, but there are other 4 small streams which form a big chunk of the drainage basin in the district. Next slide, please. Along with that, in the last year, we have taken another 473 farm ponds also, and 40 new ponds as well as 35 renovations were done under Krishi Sinchai Yojana by the Agriculture Department, and 4 huge MI storage structures worth of rupees 29.91 crore rupees were taken up. This is mainly for the agriculture purpose. As I said, very less area of district is under agriculture. Hence, these assets have been created to support the agriculture area. These are the different process of completion. They will be completed by the end of the next financial year. And it's not only the water, sanitation also, which we were discussing. So we, as part of Jal Jeevan mission, when every household is being provided the drinking water facility, in all such households, the soak pits are being constructed in convergence with MGNRIG and FFC in the 15 Finance Commission, so that the grey water is effectively utilized, and there are also sufficient recharge points are also set up in the form of soak pits, both at individual level as at the community level, so that the water recharging takes place. And the Rudrasagar Lake, which is the Ramsar site which I mentioned, that is spread across almost 600 acres as of now. It was in late 90s, it was about 1800 acres, which is now about 650 acres we have underwater. So that there's a good amount of siltation which happens every year. Hence, the dredging of this Rudrasagar Lake has been taken up as a 2.30 crore project by the Water Resource Department. So by doing all this, next slide, we are aiming, we are aiming towards mainly the preservation of the groundwater reserves. At the same time, the artificial recharge systems like the soak pits, like the small water ponds, these are all required so that we can recharge the existing aquifer. Along with that, protecting the water resource and conservation of water bodies, which will also include the bund plantation, the riverbank protection, etc. The rooftop rainwater harvesting, there are few traditional rainwater harvestings, mainly in the hillock area. The district has about 30% is hillock and the remaining area is plain. So in the remaining plain area, we are yet to take up the rainwater harvesting structures. We will be taking them up this year on a large scale. Along with that, capacity building in water conservation and management is being done to all the various stakeholders. And as I mentioned earlier, under Jal Jeevan mission, so the aim is to complete all the, every household should be getting the pipe drinking water by 2023. So in order to do all this, ma'am, we also have set up some Jal Shakti Kendras. Next slide, please. So there is one Jal Shakti Kendra at the district level, and because there are other blocks also which are a little far away, so hence they are also set up over there. The idea is that anybody wants to have any information like regarding the iron level, water in the water, what is the iron content, and then what is the new water irrigation projects which are coming up in that area, and what is the general water table, and any other information which they get it, they can get in this Jal Shakti Kendras. These are mainly manned by the Water Resource Department officials as well as our drinking water also officials also, because they are the ones who are implementing the Jal Jeevan mission. Hence, they are also sitting in this and helping out the people with the information. It also helps us in actually bringing those two departments together and planning for our further initiatives. So next slide. In the so we have been using MGNRG scheme, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, Tripura Livelihood Mission also, by involving SHG women in order to for the capacity building as well as in order to motivate them to take up more soak pits. There was one misconception regarding soak pit that it actually attracts a lot of mosquitoes. So we try to inform them it is not that way, because it was generally kept open. Now we were either cover it or you can actually use those bricks or the chips to put in so that the water percolates and then there is no accumulation of water. So in order to educate, create awareness, Tripura Livelihood Mission has been very helpful. The SG network was very helpful. Then integrated water management program, watershed management program, Jal Jeevan mission, hydrology project, and because we have border area, we have used our water management funds also, BADB funds, border area development funds, in order to create some more water resources and water structures in the border areas. And of course, using the minor irrigation statistics, we could plan. Next slide. The challenges we have been facing so far is, one is bringing people participation. I would say, along with bringing was there in the initial times, but now it is more of sustaining, especially on water recycling and the usage of this rainwater harvesting, because Tripura and of course most of the northeast, we get good amount of rainfall, and almost 6 months we get rainfall. So the idea of rainwater harvesting is kind of difficult for people to digest. But when they have seen that the rainwater is much more clearer and much more purer for the consumption, they are taking it up now. It is going little slow, but it will pick up as per the requirement. And there are some geographical limitations, yes, hilly terrains, wherein we have to decide whether to provide drinking water at the household, which is a little expensive, but it will also cost the ecology. But at the same time, giving them at their doorstep is more important rather than allowing them to walk towards a chara and getting it. So there are certain geographical limitations also in both providing the water as well as conserving the waters there. And limitation on technical resource, yes, this we face a lot initially. I would actually thank the department for providing us with a fund to have a GIS expert and take up it very technically. But the problem what we were facing here is there were no GIS experts available. Hence, we got TSAC, the Tripura Science and Technology Council, to on board, and then we did it. But given this geographical limitation, yes, we have human resource limitations also. We are tackling it in different ways. 2-3 districts together got up, and then we had one expert. So that's how we are working. Of course, the area is also small, hence we can share the resource also. So this has been the experience so far. Just some photographs which I would like to share, the works we have done. So the first photograph on the top left corner is the water. There's a farm pond only, but why I put this picture is, though it's not very clear, it's mainly because of the plants which we wanted to cultivate. It's not only the water, but also strengthening the bund, and at the same time earn income by using some vegetables or some other plants growing over there. The other pictures are of water. There's farm ponds, and the last one is the soak pit, wherein we are including these brick chips or something else to cover this. In Tripura, again, we don't get stone chips at all. There is no stone chips, so we actually import it or we get it from Meghalaya or from Bangladesh sometimes. So because there's no stone chip, we use bricks only everywhere in our cultivation. These pictures are mainly of our agriculture production of agri field at one area just near the river. This is regarding the protection of the Gomti River bunding, where we had to, for irrigation, we had to put those pipes, and then we have taken up. The third one is also protection of the Kakru River near Thalibari in the southern part of the district. And the last one is the Jal Jeevan Mission, where we are also including the soak pit by converging with the various schemes. That's it from my side. Thank you, all of you.
Thanks, Vishwashree madam, for that. And notwithstanding the challenges, it was great to know about the measures and initiatives that have been undertaken under the Jal Jeevan Mission in Sepahijala district of Tripura. So we will come back to Debashree madam for a feedback at the end when all the other two presenters have made their presentation. Next, we'd like to go another state in the eastern part, Jharkhand and West Singhbhum district. We have with us Mr. Ijaz Anwar, ADM of West Singhbhum district, and for his presentation, he will be supported by Ms. Rashmika Bal, a district coordinator of the Jal Jeevan Mission, and Mr. Sachin Kumar, city mission manager of the Nagar Parishad. Over to you, Mr. Ijaz.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, all of you. Myself, Ijaz Anwar, presently posted in the West Singhbhum district as District Land Acquisition Officer. Today, we'll be presenting our PPT, which we have prepared, basically focusing on the Jal Shakti Abhiyan, especially the Catch the Rain movement, which we have been following. Next slide, please. When we started with this particular, let me have just a background of the whole scenario out here. When we started, we wanted to have all the departments interdepartmental cooperation with us, because we felt that one single department would not be enough to actually achieve what we had set out to achieve, especially we being geographically such a terrain where rainwater surface runoff was a very heavy problem out here. Our district basically is a hilly district. I'll just point out the geographical detail out here. It is a relatively average district with 10,863 square kilometer of area, and out of this, 47.5% of the total geographical area is covered with forest. We both have a protected forest and some reserved sanctuaries also. The population is 15.2 lakh, 15.02 lakh according to 2011-12 census. And here we have basically more number of female than male. The CD ratio is basically 1,017 female to 1,000 males. We have our total of 18 community development blocks covering 217 panchayats and 1,619 villages. Here we have in our district total net sown area of 1,479 square kilometer. The cultivated area, the total cultivation is 1,631 square kilometers. Rainfall, we have a figure of last 2020 monsoon season, when we had 863 millimeter of rainfall, while the average yearly average is around 1,100 to 1,200 millimeter only, and that too during the monsoon season, and probably a month or so before and after that. So mostly we are hilly region, hilly terrain. Chaivasa is very famous as land of 700 hills. So we had this problem of surface runoff. So what we wanted was to involve each and every department which could help out in conserving rainwater. And next slide, please. And we wanted next slide, please. Basically, we wanted to make this whole scheme people's movement. So we involved many departments. We even involved Nehru Yuva Kendra, which we were asked to do, and they really helped us out. Basically, the department which did a major work was Manrega. Under Manrega, we took up a lot of schemes like ponds, check dams, various structures, like soak pits. We have upper Nala and lower Nala bunds. Here, basically, under this Manrega scheme, we took up 7,795 work regarding the rainwater harvesting. It included different diverse type of structures. Out of these, we have already completed 2,320 works. In the next slide, we'll find out what type of works we have taken up for rainwater harvesting. Next slide, please. These are the different types, where we have the rooftop rainwater harvesting system. What we did was we took all the government buildings which we had in our districts, and we decided to convert those building into rainwater harvesting system. We prepared an estimate for that, as model estimate for that, and we went ahead. We have soak pit. In fact, this is a very ambitious. We took an ambitious target of 4,000 soak pits in our district. Mostly the hand pumps which we had in the district. We took each and every hand pump would be having one soak pit, and we have earnestly started the work, and we have already completed around 400 schemes till now. This figure is a bit old figure. We plan to complete around 4,000 of the soak pits this year itself. So we'll be having a very large number of these. Then we have the Nala, lower Nala and upper Nala bunds, which we have planned to check the surface runoff. We'll show with pictures how we have constructed all those things. Then we have some certain ponds, around 1,000 ponds, more than 1,000 ponds. We have taken small ponds, not very large ones, because we do not have such area where we can have very large 2-3 acres of ponds out here. So next slide, please. See, this is what I meant when I said the Nala, lower Nala bund and the upper Nala. Once we have these boulder check dam sort of structures where we tend to restrict the rainflow. With that, we wish to have this uh, stop the surface drain of water as well as the uh, soil, this thing, drain off of soil, topsoil also. We have earnestly started preparing soak pits also. You can see one of those pictures, soak pits. Next slide. These are all programs taken up under the Catch the Rain program since last October around, and we are undergoing many sorts of schemes like that. Next slide, please. Nehru Yuva Sangathan, they were of very great help for the community program, especially the IEC part. It was taken up by the Nehru Yuva Kendra Sangathan. Materials like posters, pamphlets, banners, e-poster through social media, it was circulated. Seminars were conducted. We in fact conducted seminars in 5 different community blocks of the district: Chakradarpur, Bandgaon, Majgaon, Kotpani, and Bhumundi. Wall writing was taken up. Slogan writing competition was organized among youths, especially poster making competition, drawing quiz, and slogan writing competition in these 5 blocks. We took up high school and colleges to organize all these kind of competitions. Nukkad Natak and Prabhat Fairies, rallies were taken out to sort of involve people in this whole movement, to let them know what actually Catch the Rain was all about. The Gram Sabha and the Jal Samvad was taken up in these 5 blocks, and we plan to escalate the whole thing in other 13 left out blocks of the district. Initially, we started out with 5 blocks, so we have done all these initiatives in the first 5 blocks, and then we plan to include all the 18 blocks of the district. Next slide, please. Next, please. These are a few pictures where we involved people, the general masses, in this rainwater harvesting and the Catch the Rain Abhiyan. We took pledges to build to do our own part to catch the rain in the district and conserve water. These are a few glimpses of what we did in the last 2-3 months. Actually, since April onwards, we were heavily into the panchayat election which was going on in Jharkhand. So we have just completed on 31st of May, we completed the counting and all. So now we are again into this, will be moving in this direction in a very fast manner. Next slide, please. The next slide, please. This was the awareness campaign taken out by the Nehru Yuva Kendra, organized by Nukkad Natak and the Gram Sabhas, the rallies which we took out to involve local person, to let them have an overall idea of what we actually wanted them to and how we wanted them to contribute towards the whole water conservation plan. Next, please. These are the competitions with the wall writings and the pamphlet poster awareness program which we carried out in the district last year. Next, please. These are the pictures of seminars we organized in different blocks. We had people in the village level, we had people at the block headquarter level coming and then discussing the whole problem, what problem are faced by the villages and what are the solution to those problems, how they could contribute towards the conservation of water. So these are a few glimpses of what we conducted in the last few months here. Next slide, please. Then we have this forest division. Actually, we in our district we have 4 different forest divisions. So they also pitched in with their own work of rainwater harvesting, and these were the activities taken up. Plantation work was taken up by the forest division in a very big manner, and this is what the figure here shows. The ongoing schemes were plantation in 318 acres, to a total of 4,914 acres were selected for plantation. 1 acre land would be having 112 fruit tree and 80 timber trees. So this was the average according to the area, the demographic area which we had. So up to now, we have already planted 9,43,000 trees, and this we feel that this will go a long way in retaining water and prevent the surface drain of water. And we are still continuing with that. The coming monsoon season, we will again have a next batch of tree plantation. We have selected certain areas where we plan to do the plantation out here. Next slide, please. These are the tree plantation which was done last year, and now again we plan to do it in the coming monsoon season. We'll be having the monsoon season starting from 15th of June onwards, and this continues up to around September end. So we'll be having ample time to plan. We have already planned out, and we'll have time to implement our plan in a very right, honest manner. Next slide, please. Next. Again, we had one scheme which we included into this water conservation, the Prime Minister Krishi Sinchai Yojana, and we had different type of structures being constructed through this scheme also. We had staggered counter trench, water absorption trench, the check bunds, earthen check dams, the TCBs, new ponds, and then loose boulder structure. We have a few pictures of these structures which we have already constructed, and there are a few in line in pipeline which we plan to do in the next coming year. We'll have the pictures in the later slides onward. Please, the next slide, please. See this loose boulder structure. We have constructed quite a few in the district, and the right side of the picture, shows the water absorption trench. Since we are hilly region, so we have a lot of rainwater running off towards river. Even the river, we don't have perennial river. It is all during rainfall. We have a very large flow of water, and then after 2-3 hours, we don't have any water left in the river. So what we wanted was to stop the rainwater, the surface runoff in between. So we constructed these type of water absorption trench in large numbers. The next slide, please. Some ponds and staggered counter trench in the forest area, the area just outside the forest. We have a lot number of these already under construction. We have completed quite a few, and we'll be having a few more numbers in the coming next season. Next slide, please. This is the earthen check dam which we have. In fact, we have taken these kind of check dams in almost all the community development blocks of this district. Then we have TCBs. TCBs we have taken in a very large number. Basically, this helps us in the paddy cultivation also. It conserves water, and it raises the water table also. And this has been planned so that we have better drinking water facility, because otherwise the water table has gone down so low that we sometimes have to drill up to 200 feet to get clean drinking water. Here again in Chaibasa, West Singhbhum district, we are one of the largest iron ore mining area. We have a very large area under mines. So we have, like Tripura, madam said, they had this problem of iron in water. Here again, that red water, we have a problem of red water, iron contaminated water in around 4 to 5 community blocks, and there we have taken up drinking water schemes in such a manner that people get clean drinking water after treatment. So we'll be having a picture of that also. So we can continue. Next slide, please. This is just a picture of this taken through Google Map, how these ponds have been constructed in area near the fields, cultivated areas. Next slide, please. The drinking water and sanitation department has also taken up their schemes like these. They have constructed dams on the rivers to just stop the flow of water, and then they take out the water from here. They pump out the water and take it to the WTP, water treatment plant, and there we treat the water and then supply it to the villages. Around this type of structure cater to around 1,000 houses. So we have constructed quite a few number of these, and quite a few are in pipeline. So we plan to have almost the whole of the district covered by 2024. That is our plan, and we are using the DMFT funds, which we generate in quite a large number here in this district. So we have utilized that fund to prepare these provide clean drinking water to the villages, the pipe drinking waters. This is all we have. Next slide, please. This is all we have about what we have been doing in Chaibasa district in the last couple of months, and what we plan to do in the next 1 to 2 years to have a better conservation of water. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Ijaz Anwar, for taking us through a presentation with lots of visuals to illustrate some of the initiatives that you have undertaken. As I mentioned earlier, we will take Debashree ma'am's feedback after the next presentation. For the next presentation, we're coming to Vadodara. It's in Gujarat, on the western part of the country. And we have with us Girish Agola, executive engineer from the Water Resources Department, to take us through the initiatives and actions on water conservation and catch the rain campaign undertaken in Vadodara. Over to you, Girish. You're on mute.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all. Please, can I have the PPT? Next slide. In 2019, PM Sir has announced Jal Jeevan Mission. In that, some critical components defined like water conservation, harvesting, renovation, traditional. From that, I have inspired and we have planned water harvesting in government school. Please next. Next. Initially, rainwater harvesting system was in 37 government primary school. Now we have covered 1,000 government school. In that, water harvesting system is already we have completed. Initially, cost was rainwater harvesting was 4 to 5 lakhs for one single school. We have developed the model that I will show in my next slide. Next slide, please. Total out of 1,000 government school, initially it was 37 school was covered. Now 963 schools are already covered in this program. Then we have used fund of CSR, IOCL, GACL, and others, and DMF also. Next, please. There are two type of models. One models in that tube well are exist. It will cost around 25 to 45,000, and second models where without tube well, it will cost around 45 to 90,000.
There seems to be some problem with the sound.
Yes,
Has it been disconnected?
he has got disconnected.
Okay. Let's wait for a couple of minutes.
Sure.
Okay, while he's getting reconnected, I think maybe we can, sort of carry on with the conversation.
Yes, I think
he's back.
Sure. No, there are some technical glitches still.
Okay,
I think
okay. It is actually a good model. During last week, the Municipal Commissioner of Vadodara made a presentation on how they have the Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan model for rainwater harvesting for schools. They have modified it, and they are able to. We will pick up this model and circulate it to all the districts as a part of JSA CTR. It is a good model, but Vishwashree and Ejazji, I just wanted to ask both of you one question. Both of you are in hilly areas, and one of our focus areas this year, additional focus areas, is identification mapping of springs and spring sheds. So, do you have springs in your districts?
Yes, ma'am. We do. We do have.
Yes, ma'am, we do have quite a few springs out here in the district.
So then my suggestion would be that, this year, and springs have to be mapped physically. So one is map all the springs, because there's a Niti Aayog report also that springs are disappearing fast. And of, rivers, they're critical for drinking water in hilly areas. So one map springs, identify the spring sheds, and look at the health of the spring shed. And you probably need to go back to the spring year on year to look at, discharge, quality of water. So there is, again, we have to your state nodal officers, we have circulated quite a bit of material on springs and spring shed management. Okay. Prashant Kumar from Jharkhand and Tripura, I forget who the nodal officer is, but we've shared a lot of material. So that is one area where I urge you to, this is actually a very critical area for water management as well. Achha, another question is Amrit Sarovars. You do know that the Prime Minister has announced 75 Amrit Sarovars in each district. Are you working on that?
Yes, ma'am. The work is going on that. What we are doing here is, because the monsoon is already set over here, so we are actually focusing on the regeneration only, not creation on the new water bodies. So regeneration as well as filtering the bunds and all those, that we are doing.
Right. Jharkhand?
Yes, ma'am. What we have done is we have started out with the selection of areas where we will be having some new ponds also, and then the regeneration of old zamindari ponds which we have in the district. So we'll be having a mix of both here.
Right. Thank you. So what I found interesting about, Vishwashree, your presentation, a lot of, I see there has been a lot of science that has gone into your overall planning, mapping, and your strategy for water conservation, which is great. And in Jharkhand, West Singhbhum, what came across very strongly was the community mobilization and the participation. So that is something that is actually, we talk about making water everybody's business. How can you mobilize the community? How can you increase ownership of water bodies? Because year on year, we have to go back on maintenance. And if we can, emphasize in the community how important the water bodies and the water structures are, then possibly we will have to, that becomes a part of the routine activity of that village or panchayat or things like that. So that is something that we have to embed as a part of the Jal Shakti Abhiyan. I think if our friend from Vadodara is not available, maybe we can wind up now.
Sure.
Rajeshji?
Sure. We will then, in that case, ma'am, would you have any further advice for
No, I think
Sepahijala?
these were my closing comments. I think that
Okay.
it has been a very useful session. Thank you, both of you. I mean, this is how we learn about what is happening in different districts, and I wish, water security. I mean, a water secure India will be created by each one of you. So thank you for sharing your experience, and all the very best.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you, ma'am.
Thanks, ma'am, and thanks to Vishwashree B, Sri Ijaz Anwar, and the other presenters who are helping with the presentation today. Thanks for this very insightful session, the 34th edition of the water webinar series on Catch the Rain campaign. Looking forward to the next edition in a couple of weeks' time. Thanks to all of you.